Alright, I think we're pretty much good to go. Hey guys, Debo here. Hope you guys have been doing well. Coming with my, I think this will be like the last, well, I'm not going to probably go back into the world of speedrunning with the Witch Doctor. I got one build I did before, the speedrun build with the Jade build, and then I'm doing a speedrun build with the Tickling Massage in combination with the Rachel's Ring of Larceny. So you'll have one build that can do a speedrun that's with no pets, and then one build that focuses basically around pets. So just before we go ahead and start this little quick video that breaks down all the builds and everything how it works, let me go ahead and tell you the following, so listen up. If you're trying to get the very most fastest speedruns possible, based on the classes, it is Monk, DH, and Barbarian. I think Monk is a little bit ahead in terms of doing the bounties and the rifts at T6. I think then it goes Barbarian, but I don't know. Both those can intertwine and interchange. And then DH. If you're looking for the fastest class to do that, then rolling one of those classes is the best thing to do, whether it be a Barbarian, a DH, or it be a Monk. So I just wanted to say that first. Witch Doctor does not farm the fastest of all the classes because each class have their own little different perks and we shine in different ways. So now that I've gotten ahead and just said that at the beginning of the video, if you're looking for one of those classes or the absolute fastest build, just go ahead and tune out now. But if you're one of those people that like playing the Witch Doctor class and want to put a little speed into your build so you can get through those bounties a lot quicker and get through those T6 a lot quicker so you can get back into doing the trial rifts and doing the greater rift system, this will definitely help you out. If you haven't checked out the previous video before, I'll put that in annotation so you can go check out the previous Jade build and stuff like that. So if you want to do it without pets. But now that we explained all that, let's go ahead and get down to the Tickling Massage with the Rachel Rings of Larceny build. This involves using the pets. We're using a 6-piece Zuni Mesa combination with the 2-piece Ogdals, Tickling Massage on the helmet, and Rachel's Ring of Larceny. I don't know if it's Rachel's Rings of Larceny. I'm pretty sure somebody will correct me in the YouTube. The reason why it works out so well is because the Tickling Massage basically makes our horrify and fear root enemies around us for 8 seconds. And with that aura, it keeps it up for 8 seconds so that basically when we're spamming Horrify with Stalker, we get the increased movement speed. And then also with the Rachel's Ring of Larceny, when you're actually, you get 57, up to I think 60%? Yeah, up to 60% movement speed for 4 seconds after fearing an enemy. Since the Tickling Massage gives you the fear aura, you can actually hit Stalker when there's no monsters around, and when you approach the next monster that you fear, because that's going to keep the aura up for 8 seconds with that fear effect, it will instantly kick in the Rachel's Ring of Larceny. So the reason we're able to move through the environment so fast is a combination of the ring, also the Tickling Massage, and using the Horrify. We're also using Boon of the Hoarder to increase our movement speed. After we kill enemies, we'll get some gold, and we can use that to get increased movement speed whenever we run over it. We're also using Wreath of Lightning. Whenever that lightning goes off, it helps with AoE damage for the build and also gives us a 25% increased movement speed. And then, of course, we're running Bane of the Trapped for the extra damage increase. So when you add all that up, it just signifies in what basically what happens is you get a lot of movement speed for doing bounties, and your clear times are really incredible. You can skip mobs, you can run ahead, you can just tag mobs. In terms of the killing power, it is not as strong as the speedrun Jade build. That's just on another level in terms of damage, but it still kills pretty quickly. I would recommend if you're doing a lot of bounty farming just to build up on your keys, this is the build to go to. Whereas if you're doing a lot of T6 speed runs, then you might want to roll with the Jade speedrun build. However, I will say this, the movement speed in this build works out very well in T6 to keeping up with Barbarians and Monks and other classes that move very fast. So you can run through, tag them with fear them for 8 seconds, and and just keep moving through the whole environment. It works pretty well at keeping up with other classes. Pretty much for the gear, it's pretty straightforward. Tickling Massage. Hopefully you can get one with Int Vitality and Crit Chance and Socket in 8 seconds, but I haven't got one with Crit Chance, but this one actually had the 8 seconds on it. Priority for what you want is always a Socket with a diamond, because that's going to help us get our cooldown reduction so we can permanently always keep Horrify up. So that's very important. Make sure that you have the Socket over anything else, even over Crit, and you have a diamond in there. The Ogdal's 2-piece on the shoulder, whatever shoulder you use, you want to try to get basically this kind of setup in Vitality, cooldown reduction, and Fetish Army. The main thing is the cooldown reduction, because you need the helmet to have cooldown reduction with the max level Diamond, which will give you 12.5% cooldown reduction, and the shoulders, and in our Paragon, 10 points into cooldown reduction to make sure that the Horrify always stays up. Oh, and also you need, of course, the Spirit Vessel because that reduces the duration too. So basically, when you cast that Horrify, you're going to see this little symbol that gives you the movement speed, and then after that, it gives you like a little idea, like see that ended effect, and as soon as the effect of the Fear Aura ended, our Horrify will be able to be used again immediately. That's what you're looking for. So you just need cooldown in the helmet, cooldown in the shoulder, cooldown inside your Paragon points, and that'll provide you enough cooldown reduction so you can keep that Horrify up. I like to rock the 2-piece Ogdle, less damage from elites and range and melee, and more damage versus them. You can go with physical or poison depending on what you want to do. I would tell you probably lean more towards physical. Int Vitality, cooldown reduction, fetish army damage. Bracers are pretty much elemental damage and vitality crit chance. We also have the Zunimasa's Marrow, which needs to have int and fetish army damage. If I can get vitality in this one feature, that'd be great, but all resistance is okay now because it's ancient. Also with the pants, you don't want to go ahead and have poison dart. You want to have armor, but I keep these because I also use these for my Karn Evil build. So the 2-piece Ogdles, the chest, the pants, the shoes, you want something like this, in vitality, resistance to all, and armor. That's pretty much what you want. And then the offhand, in vitality, life percent, or a socket, or elite damage will be fine. The critical chance and the fetish army damage. And also trifecta if you can on the gloves. That works out pretty nicely. We also use a Belt of Transcendence because we got a couple mana spenders and that can free up one passive skill that we don't need to run. This is very important, helps out a lot. The new Belt of Transcendence that they repatch when you get a new one, they will be able to reroll armor, but this is one of the old ones, so it can't roll armor. So hopefully I can find another one so I can do that. Ring of Royal Grandeur, int, attack speed. You can have crit chance or critical damage in a socket. That's perfectly fine. Rachel's Ring of Larceny. Hopefully I can find a better one. This one had Dex, so I roll off the Dex for a socket, but what you really want is critical chance, critical damage. You also do want int is okay in a socket, or you can basically try to go for, I don't know, trifecta kind of thing in a socket if you want to roll off the int, but usually int, critical percent chance, critical damage in socket's pretty solid. SMK, if you can get an ancient one, that's great. This is pretty straightforward. Intelligence, percent damage, and critical damage. I didn't even notice I had 666 in on it. That's kind of evil. We'll have to look at that later. And then also the socket with the emerald. But everything's pretty much just straightforward with the normal choices that you have. We're running with 53% critical chance, 405% critical damage, physical damage increase 34%, fetish army damage, and I mean that's pretty much about it. Now somebody asked me, hey Debo, can I run this with the Doombringer? Absolutely you can. You might lose a little bit DPS by not having the big bad boot all the time, but Doombringer would definitely work all the time, or work well with the build. Left click is going to be Haunt with Poison Spirit. That's going to trigger with our Belt of Transcendence to generate the fetishes. Also, we're using Grasp of the Dead, Rain of Corpses, because with the thing with Grasp of the Dead, Rain of Corpses, what happens is when the actual effect, or actually, let me show you guys real quick. When you go to a certain area and you cast it, what happens is that the cool thing about Rain of Corpses effect, hopefully you can see it here. Oh, no, it's not showing any enemies. Here, let me just go to Act 1 and show you guys real quick what I'm talking about. The cool thing about the Rain of Corpses is because it hits all over the screen, yet it's only in a small area, right? So if I cast Rain of Corpses here, you see how the corpses fall on the targets all out through all the screen and what have you not? That counts as a mana spender. Well, the spell is a mana spender, but when those zombies hit all the way across the screen, they trigger the effect of Zunimasa. So that's why I actually favored to use it in this build than using Piranhas. Plus, we don't have to worry about the mana issues, and on top of that, most of the monsters, we don't really need to put in an extra 15% damage anyway. That's why I'm running the Grasp of the Dead. Spirit Walk, of course, and with Jaunt, because it extends the time, so more Spirit Walk, more movement speed. We can move through objects if we're rushing through stuff, or we need to get out of crazy situations. Fetish Army, Legion of Daggers. This is a pretty straightforward choice here. It's a physical ability, 8 fetishes, they deal their damage spot on. Horrify with Stalker. Normally with Tickling Massage build, you take the Face of Death, which extends the radius by 24 yards, but in this situation we want more speed, so increase move speed by 20% for 4 seconds after casting Horrify. That's going to synergize well with everything else we're pushing. Big Bad Voodoo, because we got the SMK, increased damage output and what have you not. Gruesome Feats and Pierce Veil for the damage, and Fierce Loyalty and Spirit Vessel. So that's pretty much what we're running. Most importantly, Spirit Vessels for the movement speed when our pets are out of combat. That helps out a lot. You can opt this out for something else that you might prefer. Spirit Vessel to reduce the cooldown of Spirit Walk, and most importantly, the Horrify, Pierce the Veil, and Gruesome Feet purely for damage amplification purposes. If you're worrying about the Paragon, you're going to put all points into movement speed first, followed by intelligence. You're going to get maxed out cooldown reduction or close to it. The reason why I didn't get maxed out cooldown reduction because I had a little cooldown reduction in my Rachel's Ring of Larceny. So what you might want to do is get your cooldown first, maxed out critical chance and critical damage. Armor first, life percent, then all resistance in the Paragon trees. And then, of course, resource cost reduction for the mana that we're going to be spending because we're using Pierce Veil. Between the Haunt and the Grasp, sometimes it does become an issue. Area damage and life on hit. So that's pretty much the straight breakdown of the build. Let me see here. Let me pull up, see if I got my times here. Yeah, okay. So basically, long story short, what you can expect. You can expect an average time of 7 minutes and 17 seconds for the T6 bounties. So basically 7 minutes 17 seconds for the average. I did a lot of different runs. I got a lot of runs under 7, but you know, when I average them all out, that's just the average time, of course. The best time for T6 Risk was 5 minutes and 33 seconds. The best T6 run was 2:44 was the fastest run, but the average time for Risk is 4:20. Somebody's gonna laugh about that out there in cyberspace. But the Jade build is much quicker. The Speed Jade build is much quicker in T6. And like I said, the times for the bounties was the most impressive because the average time, I do believe, for the... Oh, I'm thinking... It was around about 9 minutes, I do believe, if I'm not incorrect, for the T6J build for bounties, whereas this build averages 7 minutes and 17 seconds. It's almost like a 2-minute loss. So if you need to do bounties, you run the Tickling Massage. If you need the Tickling Massage speedrun, if you need to run T6 Risk speedrun, you run the Jade one. So, I mean, that's pretty much about it. If you guys want to see those runs, the best runs I got for bounties and rips and what have you not, they're going to be up in the annotations, or you can just check the YouTube channel, they'll be there. And then I got links to the old Jade build and stuff like, or the other T6 speedrun Jade build. So that's pretty much all I'm going to cover for Witch Doctor in terms of speedruns. Both of those are pretty solid. Both get us what we need to get done. I'm pretty sure there's another and a ton of other builds that can speedrun. Maybe just as fast, if not faster, slower. I don't know. There's a lot of different builds that can do a lot of different things, but these are the two major ones I decided to cover. Decided to give one that was for the people who don't want to run pet build, and one of the people that wanted a speed run that does use pet build. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos and stuff like that. The next big thing I'm going to be doing is updating the 24-hour Witch Doctor guide with all the new information, so look forward to that. And then, of course, I got a lot of new Final Fantasy stuff coming out for Final Fantasy 14 because the expansion is coming out. So I'll be covering both games, and I should be having Diablo season so far, episode number 5, coming out in another couple days. So make sure you guys check that out too. As always, it's enough rambling from me. My name is Debo, and I hope you guys have a good day.